Good morning and welcome to the Upper Deck. I'm Lynn. I'm here with Sierra as always, and thank goodness. And we have such a week to talk about, and a really good week to talk about. Which I'm just going to sit here and relish that moment for a hot second. And hey, right off the bat, Lori and Jonathan and FJ, so good to see you. And Lori, 100%, we got to get that win today. We cannot leave Colorado as the losers, and we can't leave it all on the field as of yesterday. They better have something left in their tank. Um, so yes, and Michael, good to see you too. Just saw you pop in. So let's start with the trivia question of the week, which Spencer always makes it finds a way to make it relevant. And so we've been talking about 1995 a lot. So this weekend's matchup between the Yankees and Rockies is notable. It is the 30th anniversary of when both teams earned their first ever wild card wild card spot. The first ever, not their first ever. It was the inaugural wild card game. I said that wrong. Both teams won their wild card games, bringing them into the postseason. Who were the managers of the Yankees and of the Rockies who led them there? Okay, so think about 1995. That was the 30 years ago, right? No, yes, it was. I don't know why I was even suggesting that I do math. Okay. And by the way, we've had trivia questions about the 30th anniversary and the wild card game. And so if you think it through, you might come up with the answer even if you're not exactly sure. And so Lou, good morning. Jason, good morning. Good to see you. I see some guesses going in there. And so as usual, we will get that back to that at the end of the show. So look, I know we're deep into the Rockies. We are Rocky Mountain High right now, but let's go back to the beginning of the week. Sierra, let's talk about the week that was.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it has been a very good week for the Yankees and for the Yankee fans. We went into this week, obviously, we had Monday off, but this was after taking the series from a very good New York Mets team, a Mets team who still has the lowest ERA in all of baseball. And we took 2 out of 3 games. And our plan B, Cody Bellinger and Paul Goldschmidt, went out there and showed them exactly why plan B was the best plan for the New York Yankees. We went into Tuesday against the Rangers. We ended up sweeping the Rangers. We kind of exposed them and all of their flaws that they have going on right now. But then, of course, in true New York Yankee fashion, we show up in Colorado against the worst team in baseball and drop the first game of the series. Unfortunately, Clark Schmidt, even though he had 8 strikeouts, he kind of labored through that start. And then the offense didn't show up either. But yesterday, they came out swinging, especially in the 5th inning where they put up 10 runs, really beat up on the Rockies. And I would like to see them do it again today before we move on to the Angels and the Dodgers, because the Angels, for the first time in like 14 years, are above 500. And they don't even have Mike Trout right now. And the Dodgers are the Dodgers. So you don't ever know what you're getting out of the Dodgers.
Yeah, I mean, this series is the series that we were not supposed to be worried about. I think we'll come out of it, having not been worried. And perhaps we should have been worried, just like at least some opening night jitters on Friday. But we definitely, the gate swung the right way last night, and then some. That was so ridiculously fun. That 5th inning was just, I didn't have a voice after that the half inning. Like it was just fun, and then it's almost like, okay, you're done now, guys. I think we have enough runs. Let's move the game along. Let's move it along. I think we're good. I think we're good. But it was like, okay, so now we righted the ship. But to lose against literally the worst team in baseball. What did they had won like 9 games, but when we came to them Friday night and we gave them their 10th win of the season, it's not laughable, it's cryable. Lori's asking if Trout is out again.
Yeah, so he went on the IL I want to say April 22nd, he suffered a bruised, I'm going to get which knee wrong. I want to say right knee, but it's probably the left. And I know right now he's working through rehab, but Mike Trout is one of those guys who is what you would consider a generational talent, but the guy is made of glass. Like, he is never healthy. And that has to be the most frustrating thing for him, for the Angels fans. Like, imagine being the wow, the Los Angeles Angels. You had Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, and you didn't do anything with that. Ohtani goes to the Dodgers and wins the World Series in his very first season over there. How frustrated would you be? I would be, I don't even know. I would scream.
Well, I guess, Karen, is this a medical opinion from the nurse? Like, it's just a boo boo. Like, it shouldn't be long that he's out, maybe. But we certainly know our fair share, have had our fair share of guys like that you breathe on them and they're on the IL.
One of them just came back.
One of them just came back. Exactly. Oh boy, our minds are like right there, Sierra. Um, and yeah, and Lori's saying Trout could have been a contender. He could have been a contender. Um, yeah, I mean, so that's sad, but may he not contend this week. So and be back. How long is he going to be on the IL? Did you mention that already?
He's doing rehab games already.
Oh,
They're being kind of like, I don't want to say secretive about it, but I don't think they actually know.
okay. And so going back quickly to the Rangers, because I love reliving a good sweep. I love me a good sweep. So I'm gonna start at the last game of it, because it's gonna be a prelude into my hero. But game three was an exceptional game. So when you look at the score alone, and so you put there, Sierra, about Vivas and what his big deal that night.
Yeah, I've been asking for a Jorbit to orbit for like 2 weeks now. I've just wanted to say Jorbit hit one to orbit. And finally freaking did it. The kid had 8 home runs in the minors this season before being called up. So to see him finally put it all together at the major level was just, it's always fun to watch a guy get hit their first big hit, right?
Yeah.
But not to mention, we only won the game 1-0. So Jorbit Vivas literally won the game for us on
Right.
that home run. Love that for him. Love that for us. So it was a good win, and it finished out the sweep for us.
That's right. And then on the opposite end of things, game two was the nail biter. And it was really good to see the Martian be a Martian and have that hero moment. That was a lot of fun with his walk off hit.
My favorite part of that whole moment is in the background. So Anthony Volpe, it's no secret that the guy has been struggling in big moments, which is really weird because in the World Series, he was a hero, right?
Yeah.
But recently, he's struggled a lot with the big moments, and he leads the league. He leads not the league, the team in strikeouts right now. You see him behind Dominguez because he's on deck, just celebrating. And to me, it looks like there's a look of relief that washes over his face. Like he realized, oh, I don't have to take an at bat. I don't have to strike out right now because Dominguez just won the game. That made Dominguez the 4th youngest Yankee to have a walk-off home run.
Wow.
He's up there with Gleyber Torres and Mickey Mantle.
Wow.
And honestly, I'm glad we came back and won because we hadn't had a walk-off home run, I think, since I want to say 2023. But not only that, I thought we were going to lose because of Jake friggin' Berger. Could you imagine if we lost the game because of a guy named Jake Berger? Like, what are we doing? So it was nice to see the fight. Obviously, Judge helped in the 8th inning, and then Dominguez came out in the 9th and hit that walk-off home run. And it was just an overall good team morale win, I think, too, because it showed that we do have that fight in us, and not to give up when we get to that nitty-gritty bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of Volpe, FJ, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
why they put him. I mean, he was in the sweet spot at the very bottom of the order. Put him, in the eighth spot, seven at the highest. Um, and I have no idea why they
I
would do that. Could it be because of guys like Viva, like other guys, they want lower? But I think that's backwards thinking. I think you want a better hitter deeper down in the lineup so that they could set the stage for your 1, 2, and 3 guys. So
I think we have a lot of lineup construction issues right now in general. Really, your only solid is like Judge, Belly, and Goldie. The leadoff still isn't solidified because Grisham is coming back down to earth now. Rice, and because we have this issue, and I say issue lightly, where everyone's kind of performing, one day Dominguez will be sitting, the next day Rice will be sitting, the next day Grisham will be sitting. So they're trying to plug and play, and I don't think Boone or the analytics have really figured out how to do this yet. So we still don't have a true leadoff hitter. Volpe should not be hitting fifth because he can't. He is struggling right now. You can see it on his face. There's times when he's up there swinging at the worms. And not only that, like if you put him lower in the lineup, if you figure out how to get him down there, I personally would put him ninth. That gives you almost a second leadoff hitter, and he can use his speed, right? Like we haven't seen Volpe really get to utilize his speed on the Yankees, and it's really frustrating because that's a huge part of who he is. Like let the kid get on and steal bases.
yeah. And Michael is voting against Goldie, I guess, especially when it's a lefty pitcher.
I also vote against Goldie being a leadoff. I think the 2, 3, 4 should be Belly, Judge, Goldie. Outside of that, who freaking knows at this point? At the beginning of the season, I would have wanted Dominguez in the leadoff, but now I would probably put him in the fifth spot with how well he's playing.
Lori, that's an excellent point. He's not even doing that anymore.
Nope.
So this gets to be a little bit conspiracy theorious because
He's struggling.
he's just struggling all the way around. And you're right, I'm not seeing those taunting hops off the base, like playing Frogger with the pitcher so that the pitcher gets distracted. But none of that strategy is going on. Does that make anyone think that there's something brewing physically?
No,
No, you don't think that's it?
I think so. Baseball is like 90 to 95% mental, and he is in his own head. He's swinging at everything. He looks scared at the plate. He's playing good defense, but that is it. And it's like he has to find a way to get out of his head, and it's frustrating to watch. And I'm sure it's frustrating for him because he's probably watching the videos, doing the analytics, talking to Judge. Like he's probably doing all the right things behind the scenes, but it's not connecting at the plate. But also, I do want to point out that he is playing to the back of his baseball card. So I don't know what more we can expect from Volpe in the future. Like, is this what we're going to get out of our shortstop? And if so, is Anthony Volpe the future? Is he the future for the shortstop position for us, or are we going to be 2-3 years from now doing this all over again because Volpe just isn't what he was promised to be?
Right, or both. It's and I appreciate that you're saying he's doing well defensively, but to me, his fundamentals are off there too. I just think that he's missing more of the short hops that he used to be able to get, or at least recover quickly from. And there were a few times yesterday where he adjusted fast enough to get to Goldie in time, but by a nose as opposed to something with the fluidity he used to have and the quicker reflexes he used to have. So Karen's likening Peraza and Volpe here, that they're doing the same thing.
So Peraza, in my opinion, wouldn't be on this team if we didn't have so many injuries. Peraza has a beautiful glove, makes amazing plays, but he cannot hit at the major league level. And I truly believe he wouldn't be on this team if there wasn't so many injuries. He would have been traded or whatever, but he's out of options too. So whatever happens to him after the All-Star break, like this is it for him.
Right. And the thing about them doing the same thing at the plate, Karen, I think you're also thinking about just they're both pressing, and so they're first swing hitters, which is probably my biggest pet peeve in the game. And I wanted to look up the numbers, and I didn't because I overslept, of like,
They need to
plate discipline, but I bet their numbers are not where they should be on plate discipline.
no, they need to take a look at the other young guys in Vivas and Dominguez who know how to take a pitch and are very disciplined at the plate. They might not be 300-400 hitters, but they know how to take a walk.
Yep.
And I think that's, or freaking do an Anthony Rizzo and get hit by a pitch. I don't even care at this point. Just get on base.
Right. Just not in the head.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then yesterday is just, I mean, we kind of already talked about it, but come on, even Pablo Reyes got a hit. By the time it was over, I mean, how many times did Goldie get up to bat that inning? I'm like, oh my God, it's Goldie again. Didn't you just cross home? It was that kind of an inning, which was so much fun. But every single player in the lineup got a hit.
It was at the point where I was going to be like, take a shot every time Goldschmidt gets a single in this game because we're just single walk, single walk. Like, it was insane. But yeah, even Pablo Reyes, he came in as a pinch hitter / defensive replacement because we were up by so much. Even he got a hit. And I felt a little bad for the guy because he was so excited. And I'm like, oh, like, you really haven't played lately. I forgot you were on this team because that's how bad you are, which then made me feel bad for the Rockies because I'm like, Pablo Reyes just got a hit off of you. But no, it was a fun game. It was fun to see everybody contribute. And again, another good morale game for the team. It's one of those games where you can see them really bonding in the dugout because everyone's happy, everyone's excited, everyone's getting on base. Even the guys who are struggling, like Volpe and Wells and Peraza, were able to contribute in their own ways. But yeah, listen, they better just come out and do the same thing today, okay? Because the Rockies, yeah.
No, I mean, I don't know. I think you will all, regardless of where you live, will hear me if we don't win today. If you hear a wailing scream, that's me from wherever I am.
I will definitely hear it. I also want to mention DJ lay ground out, DJ lay broken calf. DJ, who we didn't want back, has looked pretty good. And it must have felt good for him to hit the way he did against his old team yesterday.
Oh yeah, especially that. Right. And and Lori also better than expected. I expected crap. Well, yeah. I mean, and I would say that he's been more than better than crap. I think that so let's get into those hot topics. And DJ was on the top for me because he's the DJ's playing the house mix right now. Like it's he's a both-sided player, and it shows. Granted, a week's worth of numbers, right? Like 2-3 games worth of numbers. But his first week back, he got 7 hits, a home run, and 3 base on balls. So patience at the plate, and got one out, and the home run he got out was like at a 93, velo. It's not going to be Judgian or Stantonian. And TJ wasn't really, one of our key home run, guys to begin with. So that was really good to see. It says to me a lot about how well his rehab went, and that maybe the time without him was well spent. But again, it's a small sample size, and let's see, his batting average for the week was 269. His outs above average was 74% this week. So that's what's telling you that, and what you brought up. He's doing great on the fields as well. He's looking really good defensively. He's at 74. That's better than Goldie, who, I mean, by 2 percentage points. So this was a great welcome back week for DJ.
Yeah, and the bat aside, when 2 weeks ago when I said I would take DJ over anybody else at third base right now, I specifically meant his glove. Like and he's proven it. He's playing second, but he's making plays that I don't think the other guys would be making right now. And he's doing it. He's making it look so naturally. Like I haven't seen DJ this healthy in so long. It's just really refreshing. Um, I've sat here in the off season and said take DJ out back and shoot him because he's done, right? Just Josh Donaldson
Oh,
him.
you weren't alone.
Yeah.
Everybody was saying that.
He's proving us wrong. He's proving that he still has a little bit left in the tank. I don't know how far this will go. And to your point, it's only a small sample size, but he looks better. And this is gonna sound silly to say, but he almost looks taller in his at bats. Like he's carrying himself differently than he did in the last 2 seasons. Almost like he knows that he feels better than he did in the last 2 seasons, right? He's giving you professional at bats that we're not necessarily getting out of Peraza at this moment. And he's playing the field well. At this point, with how well the Yankees are playing, I will take DJ LeMahieu and line up every single day at second base.
Yes. So, may we timestamp it, look at it in 4 months, and find ourselves saying the same thing still. And so, but I'm going to celebrate it as I can. It really is welcome back DJ for us. And, as quiet as he is, and it's annoyingly quiet, like how the PR team is always out with the camera when they're arriving and they ask a stupid question like Cocoa Krispies or Cheerios.
I love those videos.
He walked in, of all people, he was walking in with Weaver. And I don't even remember what the question was. And DJ just said, "See you in there." And we were like, "Wait, what?"
Luke Weaver with those questions is like my favorite thing ever because he puts so much thought into it and he's so freaking sassy. I love him so much.
Yeah, and the media team gets their money's worth because he gives you a master class on whatever the topic is. He dives deep into it. He's like, "Well, it really depends." But the weave, you gotta love the weave. Oh wait, okay, it's okay. You had a typo, Karen. He's out. He's put muscle on DJ. Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Just seeming stronger. I wish they had worked on his introvertness a little bit, but it's also kind of charming. And he is, saying good game at the end of the game, and he is like high-fiving everybody, but he hates it. So,
he's not a complete robot.
Yeah, but just I brought it up as a hot topic because he's been the opposite of that for us for months, and possibly years. So feeling a bit of optimistic there. And I also, I'm just putting this under hot topics because wondering how we feel about this, but it's a good thing. So Sarah Langs posted that the Yankees had a 10-run inning on 5-6, and again today. 5-6 wasn't that long ago, guys, but I don't remember it. Should I be concerned? So this is the third shortest span between 10-run innings in Yankees history, behind only the spans in 1951 and 1933. So, the point being that a 10-run inning so close together, it's third of all history, the shortest span that they've been able to do that. And if you're curious, just two teams since 1900 had 3 10-run innings in a season. And in 1943, it was the Brooklyn Dodgers, and in 1930, it was the Washington Senators. I just love some good old-time history there. But hey, let's break that and have a next 10-run inning within a week.
It goes to show you that this team is much more well-rounded than we thought, right? Like that plan B is really starting to work out. Plan B, where we got geriatric Goldschmidt, struggling Cody Bellinger, Max Fried, Devin Williams, who seems to have fixed himself recently. Like plan B was the best thing the Yankees could have done for themselves. And we're pretty well-rounded with the exception of the bullpen at this point.
Right. And that hopefully, is going to change with some of the things we're gonna. I know there's one in particular we're going to be talking about later on. That hopefully that pen is going to get incrementally better. But so let's go to our Yankee hero of the week. So we're still doing hot and not. That's next. But like, who is beyond hot? It's more than hey, they had a great week. And who are our heroes of the week? So Sierra, who's your hero of the week?
So I had a really hard time with this, right? Because they only played one bad game, and that was Friday. So overall, it was just a good week. And so I went with the kids as a whole. And I with the kids, I'm saying Will Warren, Dominguez, and Vivas in particular, because we as Yankees fans have wanted this for so long. We've wanted that homegrown talent around the baseball field mixed in with our veterans, which we do have now, right? We have Judge, who's homegrown and a vet. We have Cody Bellinger, who's a vet, and you see him take Dominguez under his wing out there. And we
Yeah,
have Goldie, who was our vet in the infield. But Will Warren, right? So let's rewind back to May 14th versus Seattle. Career high 9 strikeouts, right? Let's fast forward now to 520 against the Rangers. Career high 10 strikeouts. We have seen this kid, he struggled last year when he came up. We've seen this kid this season get better every single start, right? When they first said, oh, he's very similar to Clark Schmidt, he's very confident, I laughed. I was like, that's so disrespectful. But he really is. His confidence has really helped him, I think, kind of get better each start. And I'm here for it.
yeah,
Keep doing your thing, Will Warren. Dominguez. So this kid, we've been waiting for him for a long time. I feel like we've been waiting for him for 10 years, but he's only 22. So our biggest concern was his defense in left field, right? He's improved tremendously. But this week alone, he single-handedly won that. Well, I shouldn't say single-handedly. It was a team effort. But he won the game for us, the second game in the Rangers series, because walk-off home run. And he knew it as soon as it went off the bat. It was his first one right off the bat, and he was adorable in his post-game interview because normally he's very poised going around the bases, but he was so excited, and he just basically said, "This is the first time I've ever done this. I don't know how to act. Like I'm just super excited." So love that for him. And then the very next day, Vivas, we win 1-0 off of a Vivas home run, his very first in the MLB. So I'm just happy to see some of this young talent kind of come to fruition because again, I feel like this is something that we as Yankees fans have been waiting for so long. So to see it like just happen and we're winning games, I love it.
yeah.
The kids.
Yeah, I mean, giving the kids a shout out is correct here, and they are heroes in that these are kids that are I mean certainly with Vivas unsung hero, like because if anyone remembers, lots of us were very impressed with him during spring training, and thinking, oh, you know what, we're going to see this kid soon. And then it's been mixed reviews since he's been brought up and down. But well, first of all, it's easy to say this is going to be a Dublin. Vivas over Reyes any day of the week. But there's skill there that is strengthening every time out. And I'm really excited that home run. First of all, it's off his mind, right? Like that first has to be just like hovering, and I just think it adds to the confidence department inside. And let's face it, we're likely to have him around for a while, even though DJ is solid at second again. And so I just think Vivas, it was good to give him a shout out. Never too early for somebody that is here only because we had to bring him up here. And I'm so glad to see Martian being the Martian. And I tell you, there's I haven't been ambivalent about him, but I have also felt like he was another one that was like over adored before he even did anything. Right. And I mismanaged my expectations. If you watch the show ever, how sick are you of me saying that? But I was like, oh, he really is delightful. I'm going to have to like him more. So that's my commitment to Dominguez. All right. Well, so this might be my second week in a row. But I'm Rodon's my hero of the week. Um, because I can't remember when we have seen Rodon so consistent for so long in all of his outings. And that game on Thursday was not a moment of worry, concern. He's gonna blow. So solid, so steady, so focused on the moment, and that he's continuing to show why he all the fanfare he came with. That we were going to get the second ace to Cole, and we didn't get what we were promised at first and for quite a while. Now I get it, and so this is the guy that we were supposed to get that we have now, and so Thursday alone, 6 scoreless innings, he struck out 8. His ERA, as of now, is 2.88. His career ERA is 3.80. So he is performing higher now than when he came in as another ace. 80 strikeouts so far this season, a 96 whip, and he's won 6 out of his 9 outings. So that's why to me he's a hero. In large part because I feel like I've really been on the critic wagon about him all the time, but he gets all the flowers for me for the second week in a row.
I've been the biggest Carlos Rodon critic since the beginning. I didn't understand the signing. I didn't understand why they thought he was going to be an ace or a number 2 based off of one good season in San Francisco, because honestly, he didn't pitch that great in Chicago. So
Yeah.
I'm happy to see, after all of the injury, all of the temper tantrums, that this season it is coming together for him. Going into the season, I was like, okay, before Cole wasn't healthy, I was like, okay, with Fried and Cole, he's now a number 3. That takes all of the pressure off of Rodon. When Cole
Yeah.
went down, I went back to, oh crap, now there's too much pressure on Rodon. Is he going to be able to handle it? He has been consistent almost every outing now, and at least the last 5 or 6. Poor guy there's no stat for this, but the poor guy has had to have the worst weather starts out of all of our pitchers this season. And my favorite part about it is Thursday. It was cold. It was freezing cold. This guy doesn't have an undershirt on, and he's sweating. Like, he's drenched through. Like, how are you sweating through? Like, what is going on there? I just find that hilarious. But
Yeah.
it's nice that we can rely on Rodon, and it's not just Fried, because I was really worried that this was going to be a repeat of 2023 where everything fell on Cole and everything was going to fall on Fried now. Fried and Rodon are a good 1-2 punch, and they're very consistent.
Right. And I think Fried has been good for Rodon in that, all right, well, finally got rid of Cole, so I'm not going to look so bad. And then Fried comes to town and he's like, oh, wow, okay, game's still on. And so, but yeah, all the flowers for me for Rodon. And so, speaking of Fried, let's go to who's hot, who's not. And there's already some who's not in the chat. So we'll get to that. But Frank, hey, didn't see you slide in, but nobody's missing Chisholm. Lori doubled down on that. And so and Sunil just came in to say that, yeah. So I think essentially saying the same thing. So all right, but going for hot here. So Fried is Hottie McHottie. Let me tell you. So yesterday, I thought he was going to complete the game the way he was going. When it was like the 6th inning and he was only at or 5th inning, he was at 62 pitches. I'm like, this is so neat and tidy that who knows. But I'm kind of curious why Boone chose to pull him when he did, instead of letting him finish. But so 83 pitches. was his number when he was pulled off. And what was remarked a couple of times, both in the print and during the game, was the famous Pettit pickoff that he executed. And I'm assuming everyone in the chat is so knowledgeable, but Andy Pettit had this such a stealth like pickoff move where it really looks like he's his arms towards the plate, and then all of a sudden, whoop, off to the left there a little bit. Freed did that so perfectly to pick off at first. So he's all the things. He is just he's mentoring, and Sierra could talk about that a little bit. He's mentoring the other ones, and he's just in full control. And um, and I think that it almost doesn't matter who's catching for him. Um, he's just that good with his location and his command, and he knows he does his scouting. That's clear. And yeah, Freed is hot, hot, hot. What do you
Yeah.
want to add anything about Freed?
Absolutely. So between Freed and Weaver picking off runners, they are throwing out more runners than our catchers are. So I just wanted to throw that out there because that's a little frustrating. But Freed, listen, the best $12 million I've ever seen Cashman and Hal spend. I know his contract goes up in 2 more seasons, but right now we're only paying him $12 million to be an ace. Like that is a discount for what pitchers are going for on the market right now. 100%, I never worry when he's on the mound. Even last week when he had his first like rocky start, I still wasn't worried. Like the guy is so consistent. And to your point, it doesn't matter who's catching. He's locked in. But I love when they show Freed in the dugout talking to the other pitchers. He reminds me so much of Garrett Cole, where he's just yapping away, especially when he's talking to Rodon, because he's just yapping away and Rodon is not listening to a word that man is saying. He is just like spaced out. But Will Warren has said that both Freed and Cole have been extremely helpful for him in pitching this season. So another veteran leader for the pitchers. Sign me up every single time. He's basically, he and Garrett Cole are, I'm so sad that Cole isn't healthy because could you imagine Cole and Freed pitching together right now? We would have the best 1, 2, 3 in baseball.
I can't wait for next year for that reason. And speaking of Pettit, Pettit also was on the field with Warren, talking to him about stuff. I saw that during the week in one of the Yankee magazine or whatever the frig on Yes I watch. So Pettit's in his ear too. And yeah, I think Warren is, Schmidt and Warren, are going to be contending very soon. And Lori, I was mentioning this to Sierra before we got on the phone, but on the phone. Oh my goodness, that's a new one for me. So yeah, I was saying, Freed's looking like a Cy Young contender. If he keeps this up, he's going to be in that conversation. There's no way why he wouldn't be in that conversation. MVP, that's a given, and Rookie of the Year. Yeah, I think all those things are very possible. And Karen's saying he was a bargain. Yeah, and that's another thing Sierra and I were talking about. Again related to Soto. We made out so great, and that's why, everything happens for, everyone makes out good in the end, right? And so we cried a million miles of tears about Soto, but look who we would not have if we had re-signed Soto, and how that's working out for us. Oh yeah, and the All-Star team, they're going to have a hard time. Is it going to be all Yankees at this point? Because that's going to,
It's going to be the Yankees and the Tigers and the Dodgers at this bowl.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, maybe Freed would be the starter, not instead of Otani, or against each other as the starters. I meant. So, yeah, I think definitely some all-star stuff is in the future. Who do you have, Sierra?
I just wanted to give a quick mention to Peraza's glove. He sucks at the plate, but his glove has been chef's kiss in the field. He had some really good plays against the Mets. And then the other day when he dove behind the tarp and it looked like the ump was kissing him on the forehead. Love seeing that energy out of our infield. So just quick nod to his glove and his glove only.
Yeah, and that was like a cartoon moment when he dove behind the tarp like that, and his legs are out in the air and they're doing this. And I was really scared to see what we would see when they extracted him. So thank God that wasn't like an injury, but that was some play. Like that's a highlight reel play.
Yeah.
I think we'll be seeing that, over and over again. Um, and so Goldie, Belly, and Volpe and DJ both had a 3-hit game yesterday, by the way. So, that again points to, we really don't call Volpe hot these days. So, they were really active with the bats, which was good to see. You had a great one about Dominguez.
Yeah, so Dominguez, obviously he was in my heroes of the week, or because I did the kids. But with all of the hate I see Dominguez get, I just needed to point this out. He is the first and only player in MLB history at the age of 22 to, in 1 month, hit a home run from both sides of the plate, hit a grand slam, and hit a walk-off home run. So Dominguez is firing on all cylinders right now.
Wow.
And it gives Boone a really tough decision to make every day, because a month ago Bellinger was struggling, right? And Grisham was hot. Right now, all of our outfielders are performing. We have 4 outfielders who are performing. There's not one that you would say, oh, well, he's the 4th guy coming off the bench. It should have been Grisham, but he made a case for himself. And now Dominguez is finally stepping up. What do? Someone has to sit every day.
Right. And that's I guess on its face a good problem to have, until you have players that aren't getting enough on the field and we start to see the results of that. So and Dominguez has been DHing a bit, and I'm just wondering if he continues now, because it just seems to be week to week this leadoff hitter spot. I don't know if I doubt we'll see the lineup before we sign off, but are they going to stick with Grisham another day? I don't know. Maybe because it's the Rockies, they will. But and this is no diss on Grisham, because it's just we're playing spinning wheel with the leadoff spot based on a small recent sample size, it seems to me. And so who knows? It's anybody's guess. You want to lay a bet on that?
I feel like when it comes to the leadoff, as much as I hate it, they're never going to put a guy like Dominguez in the leadoff, because they don't want speed in front of Judge. They don't want somebody trying to steal a base in front of Judge. And that kind of annoys me a little bit, because we're not utilizing the speed out of Dominguez and Volpe and Vivas and all these. We finally have guys who can run the bases. So they really do need to figure that out.
Yeah, the consistency does really matter there. And Will Warren, anything extra about Will Warren?
Just, he's pitching again today. I would love to see him again break his career high strikeouts and go for 11. The kid is just, he's so confident. He looks so comfortable on the mound right now. He looks better every single outing. And you know what? Our buddy Li, he's a big Will Warren fan, and he said from the beginning to just wait it out. And I'll give him this one. Will Warren has looked very solid in his past few starts.
Somebody let Li know that we said that. And Lillian, hey, great to see you. And Jacob, thanks for stopping in. Good to see you also. Hey, chat, you've been a little bit quiet here. Is it that you're agreeing with all of our who's hots? Is there a who's hot that we didn't mention that you think we should have? Curious to know. We're gonna turn to the nots, but we'll go back to the hots if you have others you want to offer. Lillian's saying, do you think Wells should trim his beard? Since he let the beard, I think he's not hitting. Well, you know what?
That's so funny because when Devin Williams was struggling, I said, make him earn that beard. He didn't earn it. Same thing to Austin Wells. He has to shave. He needs to earn it. And you know what? Listen, you can't do another burrito review until you start hitting and throwing out runners. You can't struggle on both sides. You have to pick a struggle.
Seriously. And when your pitchers are annoying, the calm, the what's that thing called? The pitch calm and doing what they want, you gotta kind of think about that too a little bit. Little self-reflection. And a lot less facial hair. And I hear those burritos weren't so great anyway. So all right. So who's not hot? Go ahead, Sierra.
Listen, with how good of a week they had, it was hard to find someone who was a not, but I did it. I did. Tim Hill and Ian Hamilton look atrocious right now. I think I liked it better when Ian Hamilton was on the IL and I didn't have to see him pitch because that's how bad he's been. Tim Hill started off good this season. I was super, super excited to have him back for his $2 million contract. But I'm going to just throw some numbers at you guys real quick. Tim Hill in his last 7 games has only thrown he's thrown 5 innings in the last 7 Yankee games, has given up 6 hits and 3 earned runs. His ERA jumped up to 5.40. And if you think that's bad, Ian Hamilton has a 12.00 ERA. And in the last, 7 Yankees games, he's pitched 6 innings, given up 6 hits, 8 earned runs, and 5 walks. I don't want to see Ian Hamilton right now. Send him to Alcatraz, send him to Guantanamo Bay, send him somewhere else. I do not want him coming out of the bullpen.
Oh boy. Okay. Okay. The vote, Lillian, was that he needs to trim that beard off, like shave it off, not even just trim it. If you missed part of that,
he needs to make it more rat face.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And lay off the burritos. If you missed that part too. Yeah. All right. So that's the who's not. It's such a great week when we don't have a lot of bullet points about that. But we invented a new category in this segment called Who's Meh. Meh. Who's meh? So Sierra, go ahead.
My poor guy Clark Schmidt. I've been looking forward to him coming back, and it seemed like every outing he was getting better. But he really labored Friday night. He gave us 8 strikeouts, but he didn't even go 5 innings. He gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, but again, 8 strikeouts. So I know he said he wasn't locating, he was struggling. I will chalk it up, and I will give him the benefit of the doubt. Colorado is a nightmare to pitch in. I will give Clark, some grace. Oh my God, some grace there, but it was not a good outing for him.
Agreed. Definitely agree. Yeah, and and same thing with Volpe, right? Like he doesn't get a bouquet, he gets like a daisy for yesterday. But
that's the thing. So Volpe showed life yesterday, right? But it was a game where even Pablo Reyes got a hit. Everybody got a hit. So was that Volpe showing signs of life, or was that Colorado was that bad yesterday? Like whatever happened in the 5th inning, because Freeland looked good up until the 5th inning, and then it just kind of unraveled for him.
Right.
So I'll give him a Mia because thank you for participating yesterday, but I need more.
Right. Exactly. We don't give out participation trophies normally. So and Wells the same thing. He's like, well, everyone else is doing it, so I might as well do it. Showed some life. Right.
I need Wells to throw out a runner. That's like between Wells and Ascara, they're not doing anything as far as throwing out runners, and it's just driving me insane. And all of the excuses I hear for why the Yankees catchers can't throw out a runner, I'm over it. Throw out one. I just need you to throw out one runner.
Yeah,
that's it.
And then we'll up the ante a little bit, but show us one. We'll give you some positive reinforcement, and then give us more. So Lori, I love that you're saying this because I was telling Sierra that like post-game interview with Judge, boy, the press was like really trying to get him to talk about, how's he feeling about being below 400 and, will he get back up there? And Judge just wasn't having it. Judge is like, I'm looking at the game ahead of me. That's all I'm looking at.
Do you know
And
what's
you know
crazy?
what?
The MLB average right now is only like 244. Like average batting average is 244, and Judge is hitting 395. He was at 414. Like that's insane.
Right. I mean, who's really going to sustain that? But and he's sustained over 400 for quite a while, and you know what, he is only 5 points under that, so today it could be like a back up to 414 or bigger. But they just try to get him to talk about himself, and he just won't do it.
We're putting him
um
on notice. If he doesn't get above 400, he's getting benched tomorrow.
all right, and so Grisham is a myth for Karen. I think that's fair. I think Grisham has done the run on the leadoff. And I think in some ways leadoff hitting is like breaks the guys somehow, because, or at least the guys that we've been seeing and how often we've been seeing them. I can't remember how long it's been since we've had a leadoff guy. Like, it would be a shocker and they went on the IL, or their wife had a baby or something, for them not to be leading off. I can't really remember when we had our go-to leadoff guy. But the thing is, Grisham will always be clutch, and that's the thing. I think Grisham is clutch. He's not all reliable. And I'm not meaning that in a negative way,
Mhm.
but whatever spot he's in, except apparently lead off for a long time, he's there, and he gets things across. But I mean, you can't say anything about defensively. This guy is going to earn another Gold Glove in the outfield. I think this season. And Lori's saying that Triple Crown is definitely achievable for Aaron Judge. There's no doubt about it. Um, and looking forward to that. And I keep saying they've already, found his spot at Cooperstown. It's protected and ready for him in 9 years. And Karen's saying they're idiots. I'm There's so much that could be applying to Karen, but I'm gonna assume that you meant just this whole, this roster construction thing. To which I say yes, yes they are. Um, and let's see, Lillian, you're saying Judge is good with the team, but yes, he needs like a push with something for motivation. Um, yeah, I don't know that Judge lacks motivation. I find that really interesting. Um, I think he has I think, well, where I was heading, Lillian, was that you can't get him to talk about himself and what he's achieving and how he's performing. He's always pivoting to, either the team that's very captainy. And so I think that's what, the thing is with Judge. You're not going to say, yeah, I'm feeling great at being at 414 and the greatest of all time and first ballot Hall of Famer coming soon. So yeah, and so and Grisham, has not started. Yeah, he's just not. He did well the first few spots leading off, but his time is done. And maybe they're just going to wait for the West Coast to make that change. So that's it for the hots and nots and the meh. So let's talk about what now. Yeah, I'm glad you're talking about this, Fernand. Go ahead, Sierra.
I mean, listen, when they had Tim Hill and Ian Hamilton warming up in the bullpen, and there was no signs of Fernando Cruz, I think we all kind of had the same thought in the back of our minds. Where is Cruz? What is going on with Cruz? And then, of course, that night / the next day, they said he was dealing with some shoulder issues. And then they sent him to the IL. And we got Brent Hedrick in return, who didn't look terrible, but I prefer Fernando Cruz because Fernando Cruz has been so good. His slider has been so nasty. Again, I don't want to see Ian Hamilton. I don't.
Right.
So I wish a speedy but healthy recovery for Fernando Cruz because
Yeah.
we need you back.
Yeah, and Fernando Cruz has been on my hot list for a while now. I love what I'm seeing from him. I love his makeup and his approaches. So yeah, let's hope it really is 15 day. And hey, you know what? I love. Oh, somebody put it away for me. Yeah, right here. Oh, where'd it go? There was a comment I wanted to put up, and somebody took it down already for me. All right. I didn't get a chance to ban him forever. So, yeah. Ooh, okay. I was gonna have a rant, and I really was ready for a rant. And then I was gonna ask everybody for a give him a good Michael K. See ya. And then I was gonna ban him, and it was gonna be great. But thank you to whoever made that go away. All right. So that's it to talk about on the IL, which is a good thing. And may it stay that way. There's really no comings and goings this week.
There's a little
So
bit of Stanton news.
oh yes. Oh gosh, yes.
So our guy Big Daddy Stanton is headed down to Tampa next week to take some live at bats at the complex. So
Woo!
I'm not trying to get too excited, but our guy is going to be making his way home soon, and I am so ready for it. I don't care
Yep.
what anybody in the universe has to say. He will be back in the lineup the moment he's healthy. Does not have to earn his spot. It is
Nope.
his. So
That's it.
I'm ready for it. I'm so ready for it.
Yep, and that DH spot is going to be his, for the remainder of the season when he does get back. I am living for that moment. Can't happen soon enough, but I don't want it rushed. So, but I'm not even thinking after the All-Star break at all. I really feel like it's going to be, end of June at this point. But we'll see. But every little bit of good news, I'll take it and I'll hug it for our guy. So wait. Oh, first, before we go to what's next, let's talk about prospects. I forgot to put the slide in, Sierra, but let's talk about prospects. You have a goodie.
Yeah, Clayton Beeter, right-handed pitcher for the Yankees. He's looking really good right now. His slider has averaged 2,914 RPM through his first 5 outings with Scranton Wilkes-Barre. He started off slow with shoulder injuries, but he seems to be recovering pretty good. I think if the Yankees need another pitcher soon, that's the way they're going to go. Is Clayton Beeter, right-hander? Because listen, with the way the injuries go with the Yankees at this point, especially to our pitching staff, you never know which way it's gonna, when it's gonna happen. We don't know at this point if we're ever getting Luis Gil back. Who freaking knows where Marcus Stroman is? That guy, I'm pretty sure they sent him to outer space. I haven't even seen him in the dugout. So Clayton Beeter, next man up.
That's it. And Lord knows we need him. And so that would be a welcome addition back. So looking forward to that. And next week I want to talk about TJ Rumsfeld in AAA because he's getting a lot of attention in the press. And so I'm teasing that for next week. So what's next for us? Yep, we got that rubber match game, and I like the odds between these two, between Warren and Senzatella. So you want to give those numbers, Sierra?
Yeah, so Antonio Senzatella is 1-8 this season with a 6.43 ERA. And this might not mean anything to anyone else, but I thought this was interesting. So he and Warren pretty much have, the same amount of innings pitched. Senzatella has pitched 49 innings and has only thrown 25 strikeouts, whereas Warren, with his 4.05 ERA, has thrown 60 strikeouts through 46 innings, right? Like, that's pretty good. Also, just a fun fact real quick, Will Warren is currently tied for first place for most strikeouts since May 4th with 34 strikeouts, and he has thrown 7+ strikeouts in each of his last 4 starts.
Wow.
So I also like the odds today. Also,
Yeah.
really quick, because the Yankees like to strike out. Okay, especially I'm talking to you, Anthony Volpe. This guy has thrown 25 strikeouts this season. Like that's not even half of his innings. Please don't go out there and embarrass me, because don't we don't
Seriously.
need to be swinging at the worms. We don't need to be swinging at the birds in the sky. Swing at the meatballs right down the middle of the plate that we,
Yes.
for whatever reason, don't like to swing at.
Please, please. The thing with the number of pitches you could get at an at bat is you don't have to waste the first one. Like plate discipline. You need to be a guy who knows how to read the pitches if you're going to confidently swing at the first pitch tossed at you. And you're not that yet, kid. So, or at least at the moment. So, please, eyes, eyes, yeah, um, for sure. Because that Volpe, mm, today's picture is 1-8. If we lose, oh, Lou,
That's what I'm saying, Lou. Like this guy is bad. If they go out there and embarrass me, we're gonna have an issue.
seriously, it was embarrassing enough Friday night that when we became their ninth win of the season. We don't need a replay of that. Okay, so we are saying aloha to Colorado today. So what's next? What's next is okay, so we're going to the West Coast. So, a little less sleep, but a little better altitude. So um so we got the Angels the next three. I always say it, and Sierra, I think you could back this up a bit, is don't sleep on anyone. Hell, we couldn't sleep on the Rockies, and we did Friday night. So don't sleep on the Angels.
The Angels swept the Dodgers. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah. So there is that, everybody. Okay. So this is the to me so far, this is the most critical set of series we've had this season.
Mm.
And obviously the Dodgers will be on next Sunday when we're doing next Sunday's show. We'll be heading into that. Now, how will we be feeling next Sunday morning, everybody? Will we be feeling like we already lost the series? Let's not even have a show? Or will we be, in a really good position, or at least in a setup to win, to take the rubber match? Who knows?
I think we take the series.
Yeah, I do too. I'm going to pray it into existence. So I'm going to say it now. So it's time stamped and on video afterwards. So Lori is asking how many West Coast trips there are. I think we're hitting the time of the season where I'd have to look at what's next week after the Dodgers. I feel like we might be going to the Mariners. I think this is a longish kind of trip.
No, we
no?
go back home after the Dodgers. I think we're done with the West Coast because we already went to Seattle.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we go home. We play the Guardians, and then we finally play the Red Sox.
Oh boy.
And then we're done with the West Coast.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So we'll be done for a minute, which is good for us East Coasters because I hate falling asleep on games. Those are absolute killers. Okay. So now we'll go to the answer for the trivia question of the week. And my gosh, I hope that Jonathan, Lori, you're still here, FJ, that you guys are whizzes because you either fully got the answer or part of the answer. But take a look at the question for those of you that joined late. So it's the 30th anniversary of when both the Rockies and the Yankees earned the first ever MLB wildcard spot. Both teams won their wild card games, which got them into the postseason. Who were the managers of the Yankees and of the Rockies who led them there? So the answer is Buck Showalter for the Yankees and Don Baylor for the Yankees. Now, if you're an oldie but a goodie like me, you remember Don Baylor. Don Baylor was a power hitter and very famous for hugging the plate, and His nickname was Groove, and he was with the Yankees 1983, 1984, 1985. Um, and he was plunked by more pitchers than any other player in the 20th century because of how he hugged the plate. He was with the Yankees, didn't do so great during his time with us. He spent most of the time as a DH for his power hitting, but then went on to become a manager for numerous teams. And he was the first ever manager because if you know you're a Colorado Rockies like I don't, that was their first season. So Don Baylor was the first manager for that first season.
The only thing I really know about the Colorado Rockies is there's that one clip where they show of their mascot being born coming out of the dinosaur egg. And it's just like the weirdest thing I've ever seen on a baseball field. It just, every time I see it, it throws me off.
I was wondering what you were giggling about. All right. And so thanks for tuning in, everybody. We are chat. Oh my goodness, you're like family. So thank you for being with us every week. Raziel, I saw you sneaking in. Good to see you. Glad you made it. I didn't want to mark you absent today, so so glad you made it in. And let's just do what we did last night, do it again today, and win. So let's go Yankees.